Hey, chat, how we doing today? Sorry, I've got an ice cube in my mouth. I don't know what about what I just said warranted the wedding music, but okay, I guess. Anyways, I've decided that I have been obsessing over animation maybe slightly too much as of late. So I'm going to swap back to doing a little bit of character modeling. Because I've still got this project that I have not finished yet, and I would like to finish that. So, this, well, I would say annoying. He's actually not that annoying. That's beside the point. I just want to do a little bit of extra detail, like I want to add a little bit of asymmetry before I start doing maps for this. So things like the cavity maps and the ambient occlusion, all that fun stuff. So I'm going to quickly swap this up to level 5. And remove my keyboard. Oh, by the way, chat, within the past couple of days, it was actually, I think, probably close to the day before yesterday. So it would have been Wednesday for me. I got a mouse pad, but it has all the Blender shortcuts. So it's got things like all the shortcuts for modeling, viewing, edit modes, rendering, sculpt modes, animation, all that fun stuff. So I have access to that just on my desk now whenever I need it. Oh, I accidentally knocked over my little shadow big model that I have sitting on my desk. Hey, can you like please sit in one spot instead of destroying my entire desk? Thank you. Alright, so I want to add just a smidge of asymmetry to this. I'm thinking like maybe a bit of scarring on the chest and arms. So I'll just grab the sculpt brush. I really want to pinch this together as well. So I actually want to probably around about here. I want to really like I really want to bump up the strength of this thing. And then I want to set the strength stabilize so I can make these. Right, of course I need to get rid of the symmetry first. And what I can do is I can actually pull up this brush here and just really give that a fine crease. Kind of looks a bit weird, doesn't it? Actually, now that I think about it, maybe going for a slightly less strong brush, so probably 0.3, and then a more curved line, and then pull that together. Because like it would make no sense to have the veins be over top of this cut. I'm gonna probably, because like when you think of larger scars, you think of like the stitching across it as well. So I'm going to give these like a few small ones like here. Like not too stylized, mind you. Okay, that should be fine. I just need to pinch these together a smidge. Because again, don't want to make them too cartoony. Pinch it together a bit more. There we go. Now there's the... Just grab this and just very lightly touch this. So it's like not enough to be blatantly obvious at first, but it's like very faintly there. I'm probably gonna... Do I want to split just a small cut on his nose? Actually, I might even want to readjust the nose slightly. Just add a little bit of a bump to that side. Just want to make it asymmetrical, more or less. In fact, I'd even say that I need to make a little adjustment here. Just that. Because it didn't occur to me that the nose looked a bit strange up until now. There we go, that's a bit better. And now I can... Just very slightly. Because obviously I don't want to be perfect. And then... Yeah, I did say that I wanted to do like a small cut across the bridge of his nose. Alright, so now we've got that cut there. I just want to pinch it up. Now I do need to do a little bit of color correction for the texture as well, because I do still need to do color mapping as well. And for those of you who don't know what that is, which is going to be a huge chunk of you, that's so basically color zones. Well, I called them color maps just before, but it's color zones. So color zones are a phenomenon where, hang on, I think it'd be better if I pulled up an image of this. So if I go into resources folder, wait, that's the wrong resources folder. I forget that I have a resources folder for my YouTube stuff too. So models, resources, here we go, and this. Here we go. So there's actually color gradients for people's faces. So you've got yellow at the top, you've got red around the middle, and then blue down the bottom. And obviously there's like other more detailed things you could do, but I'm just going to be focusing on this top one for the time being when I go to do the texturing. And obviously I'll need to fill in some colouring for the scars as well, because the scarring never quite... it never looks the same as the rest of your skin. And I know this personally from the fact that my ring finger is still far lighter than it should be compared to the rest of my fingers. Not that anyone's ever actually seen that, I don't think, because I think just about every photo, like every still image of me online doesn't have my hand that has that injury in the like active view. And besides, it's not the only feature on that particular hand that would catch more attention anyway. I think that's fine. And I think I probably want to just carefully just bulk out the left arm a little bit. Like, just slightly more. Well, actually, no, this is the right arm. No, that is the left. What? Left from right? Hello, Caitlin, you know this already? But yeah, bulk out the left arm a bit. And just add enough of variance where it does look slightly asymmetrical. Also, just add a little bit of bulk onto that shoulder too. No such thing as perfect, no matter how hard I try. And then we just move that around slightly. Cool. So now I've got some variance in the body. Now, the next thing I have to do is actually not colouring this in. I think the texture will be fine, but that's not what I'm doing right this second. So I have here on my list of things to do. Actually, I can remove that for now. Don't need that anymore. So I have how to do normal maps and ambient occlusions and cavities and all that. So we're going to start with the normal maps. Now, this first of all needs to be shaded smooth, which looks really nice, by the way. So shading this smooth. And then this can only be done in cycles specifically, which is an absolute pest. But that's whatever. That looks intimidating as hell. Oh my god, I do not like that. Okay, so shade smooth, only done in cycles. So now we actually need to pop into the shading workspace. Now I need to shift A, and actually I can just shift D this. I'm going to okay, come on Caitlin, you know how to do this. There we go. I'm gonna pull this across, if it will let me. Hello, thank you. So I need to add some images here. So I'm going to 2048 at the moment. I'm going to change this to try to normals. Turn off the alpha for the time being. Here we go. So this is going to be the normal map for this. I'm going to set this to normals. Going to set this to. I believe this is non-color data. Yeah. Okay, so we've got non-color data. Can only be done in cycles. Bake from multi-resolution on. So there's a setting in here. If I go into bake, I need to bake from multi-res, and here's the normals map. So make sure remove color before baking, which I've done that. That's down there. And then separate image texture, hook it to the principal BSDF normals in the principal BSDF using the normal map node. Okay. So if I bake this, now I know occasionally there can be some issues with this. I'm not sure if we're going to see them on this model, but we'll know in a second if we do. That is not what was intended. Weird. Have I done something wrong here? Bake from multi-res, yeah, it's on level 5. Is it because I didn't have it enabled in cycles actively? Also, I'm gonna need to quickly do something here because this is going to be relevant in a minute. So I'm going to Control T. I'm going to open my HDRIs. Set this to this mode. Now I need a relatively grey HDRI. I think Poofendal's Cloudy Sky should be sufficient. Actually, that's way too bright. Alright, so chat, we're going to do something fun here. We are going to be trawling the internet. What did I just close? Oh, it's just Roblox. Never mind. Okay, we're going to be quickly trawling a site that I like to go to a lot, which is Polyhaven. So I'm going to need to find an HDRI that's relatively grey and neutral in colour and brightness. So generally speaking, Studio's usually far too light, but we'll have a look-see. Actually, Christmas Photo Studio's not bad. I prefer something just a bit more neutral, like just grey would be the most preferred here. It needs to be consistent all the way around. So even maybe skies? I just need to find something that's grey and neutral. Not too much shadow. Actually, I think this one might work. So hopefully, yeah. Okay, this is neutral. Now what I'm looking for is just something with not too many bright spots. So this is perfect. So I'm going to download this. Save file to the... Not that folder. So we'll go to resources here, HDRIs, and then Mud Road Pure Sky is what this file is called. So now if I open this, I can import this. Now this is perfect for me. Now all I need to do is just get rid of this, and then voila, we have a neutral grey. Now back to what I was doing just now. If I bake this now, it should function correctly. Now that I'm actually in cycles. Except it doesn't do it. Now, why would this not function as intended? Because you can see here that the normals are completely forged. Image. I'm just going to quickly save this image. Just write it all. Now, I don't think displacement does anything in this case. Oh. Like, this is on level 5 too, so it's doing as intended. Or at least it should be doing as intended, but it's not. Alright, time to pull up good old Google, in my case DuckDuckGo. If your normal map is very light or flat, then probably preview is set to the same one as sculpt or render. Set to a oh, I need to actually set it to the correct... Alright. So it seems like in order for this to bake properly, I need to have this set to a lower multi-res division. So like when I'm running this in general, I think probably the most likely subdiv count that I'm going to have this as is probably 1. So I'm going to set this to 1. So it's relatively smooth. Now, if I click the multi-res, or click the bake, it should function correctly. I hope. Okay, yeah, here we go. So if we look at this, I'm gonna look at this in the UV editing space. So I'm gonna set this back to object mode. It does not seem that I got any errors from this. That is genuinely a surprise to me. So if I go into shading here, I plug this. So I'm going to need to swap these two around quickly. So if I plug this into the normals, now it's not going to work out of the box because you're plugging in a yellow node into a blue one. So it vaguely works, but doesn't really work. So what we need to do is we need to add... Let's see what we've got here. So I said normal map node for this one. So it's this particular one here. And there we go. We have the texture without having the high multi-res modifier here. So even though this is level 1, it has all the detail we could possibly ask for in this texture. So that's pretty neat. Now, the next thing we have to do is... I had cavity map up next for this one. So, cavity map. Set rendered world background to something neutral grey and neutral lighting, which we have. In order to bake cavities, add some nodes to the base color. These are geometry, pointiness, and then color ramp. So if I shift A, and I believe it's under inputs, yeah, geometry, so pointiness, plug that directly into the base color, and see how it's turned grey. I'll also unplug this for the time being. I need to set this back to 5 as well. Come on, sometime today would be nice, please, Blender. Oh, don't tell me it's crashed. Oh, this is gonna suck if it's crashed. Okay, no, we're good. So now we're back to this. Also, maybe turning on denoise would be a good idea. So I can actually see what I'm doing at any given moment. So if I go back into here for the moment, that's fine. Now I need to add a color ramp. Now, thankfully, the instructor for this particular course, because like I have many different instructors. So the course I was taking for character modeling, Grant Abbott, he recommended that to start off with, it's best to set the black to 0.4, and that's darken that, and set the brightness to 0.6 as a start, but not like entirely for this point in time. So the idea is to basically faff about with these values until we get all the creases in here to be quite dark but not pitch black, and have the outside still be quite bright. So this looks relatively decent. So behind the ears is fine. Under here, there's not really too much on that scar. So I might even set this to 0.45. Yeah, there we go. Now we're starting to see a lot more detail actually. So if I bring this down a bit more, probably not quite that far, probably 512. Maybe just bring this back a smidge. So now we've got shading around these details. So we've got things like the abs. We've got a lot of detail on these legs because of the copious amounts of texture that I put on them earlier. We've got like the nose, the eyes, all that fun stuff. So that's probably good. So now that I've done this, now I've got this, let's see. Make sure you have a separate image texture node selected before baking, of course. So we're going to duplicate this one. We're going to save this image. And we're going to create a new one. We're going to call this cavity map. dry the cavity. So dry the cavity, same settings as before. And then for this one, need to use the following settings here. So go back to bake. We want to remove bake from multi-res, and the bake type we want to set to diffuse, and turn off indirect coloring, and swap this one to dry the cavity. Set this as non-color data because it is non-color data. And now if I click the bake, this should be correct. So this is going to take Blender a second to figure out what it's doing. Oh, don't tell me this is going to take a considerable amount of time. It hasn't even... Oh, boy. I'm sorry, does that say 40... Okay, no, it's 45 seconds, not 45 minutes. At least I'm pretty sure. Well, I have no idea what I'm going to do while this is running. Oh, wait, never mind. Here we go. Save it. Okay, and now this should be good. I don't see any errors in this. So now we have the cavity map. Now what we need is the ambient occlusion map. So we don't need those anymore. So now the only thing I need for the ambient occlusion node is just ambient occlusion. Like quite literally there is one here. So if I plug that into the base color, see how it provides shadows for the details? So if I do this now, and it's literally just the exact same settings, but I should probably duplicate this. I'm going to save this image. So save the cavity. Now I want to make a new texture and try the ambient occlusion. And set this to be the ambient occlusion map. If I click bake, this should bake all the ambient occlusion data that I need. And once we've done that, I can start mixing these together. Alright, let's see how long Blender supposes this one's gonna take. Don't tell me that says 12 hours, bruh. Well, I suppose I have some time to kill, so, hang on, where's Minesweeper? I guess I'm just gonna be doing this for the time being, huh? Let's quickly pull this up. Since Blender's gonna take a hot minute, might as well. Oh no. I just realized that this might be an issue. I guess, screw it, just... What the heck? Why is Google doing this? Come on now. There we go. Guess I have to do this as an intermission while I wait for that to finish baking. Let's get that. That one. Definitely. Now, chance of this being that one is pretty low. Yeah. Okay, never mind. This was not what I was expecting to do on stream today. I wasn't expecting to pull out good old Minesweeper. Now that one's there, and also I should have Demon Crawl on command for whenever stuff like this happens. And I should also make a plugin like for OBS. Whenever I'm baking something, I can just activate and say, "Oh, currently baking. Please wait." Alright. This one here is a bit spicy. I don't know where the mine is between those. So I can hit that. So that is 3, 4. I think it's like this. I was correct. Let's see. 3, so the likelihood of that. So it's basically that one. 1. Yeah, that's going to be done. Don't tell me it's actually going to take 3 hours to texture bake this shit. Like, for real? You're gonna be joking me. Like, at this point, I might as well just open up another... Oh, it's just the thing for my keyboard. Like, this thing is actually telling me that this is going to take 4 hours in order to texture bake this. Please tell me that's a joke. Okay, for the time being, since this thing wants to take forever to... Or it could just do it immediately now that I was planning on abandoning it. That's hilarious. Alright, so we've got pretty much all the ambient occlusion map data here. All I had to do was just threaten to open another instance of Blender, and apparently that was just gonna work, huh? Now that I've got all the information I need, mixing nodes. Get rid of that now, and I can pull this back down to 1. So I'm gonna put the normal map here. Now, there is a specific order to mixing these together, so I need to add a mixed color ring, and this base color goes into here, and then the first one that gets mixed is the ambient occlusion, and then cavity, for whatever reason. It doesn't make quite a lot of sense to me, but it works. Now, oh right, I need to actually plug that in. Now if I do this, it actually transfers between the two. What the? Oh, there has been some errors here actually. What the hell happened here? There's nothing to indicate that that was a problem. Oh, Blender definitely had some issues with this one, huh? Now, why would it have issues with this? Does it have the same issues with the cavity map? I don't think it did. I was looking around. No, there's no issues with the cavity map. Not even the fingers seem to have issues. So for whatever reason, the Blender just really did not like the ambient occlusion mapping. Which is not a great sign. I wonder if the ambient occlusion, like the coloring that I was using for the background, was off. I can try a different one. I can definitely try a different world coloring type. So if I... No, I don't want that. Actually, what I can do, right? I can actually turn this up. Turn it up to like 10. And just pull down the color a bit. So that does provide that, but not to the extent that I would like. So I'm just going to set this back to 1. I'm going to set this to this one instead. Which is a lot brighter, but does give more even shadows. So now if I go into Object and I want to add back the ambient occlusion. What a pest. Let's make sure it's actually the correct one. Now if I grab that one, looks like I'm going to try and bake this again. So Blender is going to be upset. I need like scrolling text to the top of my OBS that says baking, please hold. Alright, so if I bake this now, hopefully it shouldn't break. I'm gonna save this anyway, in case something goes horribly, horribly wrong. At least I have some bit of information. Now, if I go here... Now, there's nothing to say that I needed to change anything. So I will do this. Maybe it's because I had something open in the other tab. Could be entirely possible. Yeah, so this is going to say it's going to take forever again, which we know it's not. What could I have running in the background for this? Oh, actually, I can probably play Bubble Shooter. Be less likely to break. We can do this while we're waiting. But yeah, I have no idea why Blender takes forever a day to try and fake stuff. Because I know for a fact it doesn't actually take that long, but it seems to just not enjoy it. So I get it. Like, God knows that I don't enjoy doing things that I need to. I don't think I can... Oh, I can slide the stop down there. This is just the life of a 3D artist. It's just half the time we're waiting for stuff to bake, so we just do stuff like this. Unfortunately, if I tried to run something intensive in the background, like, say I wanted to do physics simulations, I'd have to wait for this to finish. Blender is not having a great time, it seems. Could not imagine why that is, though. I wonder if there's something that I'm... Maybe I should actually go down a level before baking the ambient occlusion. Oh wait, it's actually gone up 1%. We'll just give it a few minutes. Let it take a screen and do whatever it is it's doing. nice setup. I always try to go for low scores on Bubble Shooter because going for high scores is just far too easy. Because, like, if you get to the last two colors, you can loop you can loop points for basically like 30 minutes or so, and then you can just get a high score like that. I don't think it's worthwhile playing like that personally. And quite frankly, I'm sick of trying to do animation. I think if I tried to do animation while baking at the same time, it would see even more disastrous consequences. I suppose I could do, like, concepting for animations, perhaps. At the same time, I can't draw for shit, so, like, as long as I can do something immediately with the concepts I've been drawing, then it's fine. But the second, like, I wait a few days and come back, I'll be like, what are these hieroglyphics that the previous generation have written? That one probably ran back here, I think. The worst one is when it gets to like 4 colors and then it basically just soft locks you out of getting removing a color until you get really lucky. Like that's the best one, personally. Ah, it's done. Is it broken again? Yeah, looks like it. Damn it. Okay, why would it be broken like that? Can I... I can't use emission textures for this, and it seems to just break whenever I put that in. See, it just pitch blacks the entire underside of the arm, and that's not helpful for what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to lower the viewport level by 1 and try baking with that instead. Because it's functionally the same. Or at least in this case, it's functionally the same. So if I remove that... So like, yeah, I lose a little bit of detail, but I feel like Blender would prefer that, this setting a lot more. Actually, I could probably even switch it to this mode. Actually, is this... Yeah, this one's actually a lot more neutral, because I just realized if I have it switched to this mode, there's like a weird shadowing thing going on there. So if I do this one, and if I bake this, hopefully it should move just a smidge faster. I'm not sure why Blender is being so salty over the ambient occlusion though, because there's literally no reason for it. It's just decided that it wants to choose violets today. And like, I get it sometimes, but come on man, this is like the one thing I'm asking you to do. If this one doesn't work, I'm gonna have to figure this one out off stream, possibly. Maybe Blender just doesn't enjoy the process of baking ambient occlusion being put live to YouTube and Twitch. Alright, time to go back to this. probably need to... I can't angle shot that, so I'm gonna have to stack those up. That. So interesting thing about this game, you can get combos, but the combos only give you extra points up to so far, and then it just goes back to regular amounts of points. It's kind of weird. It's like you want a combo, but you don't want a combo that's too large, otherwise you're literally just wasting points. Oh, is this a 4-color loop? 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is a 4-color loop. Oh, no. This is like the one thing I wanted to avoid. Like, if you're doing low scoring runs of this game, like, a 4-color loop is the last thing you want to see. Oh, just... yeah, that's the only one that connects to the thing. That. Alright, yep, can't clear anymore. That row. That one there, that there. That one. Okay, finally broke out of the 4-color loop. Or if I was hoping I'd be able to ping that one, but apparently not. That one's clear. Set that one up for later. That one. Sorry, chat. That was a really big sneeze even for me. That one. Alright, and I'm just about done. Also, like, in the time that Blender suggests it takes to bake something, I could probably do an entire speed run of a random game. I'd probably start up learning how to speed run something like Spyro or like Slideshow. Like a game I'm really familiar with. Oh, also, I looked up the Spyro ROM hack that I saw yesterday. Apparently it's a Kaizo ROM hack, which intrigues me, to say the least. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a legitimate ROM hack for any of the PS1 Spyro games, much less a Kaizo. And even less of Spyro 3 specifically. So maybe I can consider playing that on stream at some point. Okay, oh, this thing is really just going to put me in a 2-color loop. It's really just going to force me to go for a high score. I prefer to get below 50,000, but it doesn't seem like I'm going to get it today. Okay, I can probably remove both. There we go. It's still broken. God damn it. Why is it still doing this weird ambient occlusion thing? If I bake using material preview mode, is that going to provide a different result? Actually, if I bake using the level 1 modifier, because like, having the cavity map all the way up to 5 was required. Is it required here? Yes, it is, basically. If I set this to 5, if I run the ambient occlusion in matte preview, is this going to help at all? Actually, can I change this? Can I change this to something more neutral? Okay, I can actually change this to something slightly more neutral. The problem is it doesn't really help here. Like, basically, I'd need to import. Oh, actually, I can import. Come to think of it. I can install a custom HDRI and then I can run it through the material preview mode. But then that doesn't matter because it's still in matte preview, so it's not going to actually do the baking correctly. So yeah, I have no idea why the ambient occlusion matte. Let's see. Ambient occlusion, why are there black spots on the bait? There's no... Oh, wait, actually, you know what it might be? It might be these. Except it can't be the hair cards, because if it was the hair cards, it would show. So I wonder if the... I'm gonna cross-check this for a second here. Yeah, it seems like the ambient occlusion breaking points, if I hide this for a second, and if I put this here, it seems like the ambient occlusion mattes are consistent with this specific object here. So if I delete these, so I don't need them anymore. If I delete them, and yeah, I just delete this. So if I delete that, and I go and back to this and ambient occlusion this now, this should be fixed. I can't believe I didn't think to consider that this could be an issue. Also, I need to set the mirror to this now. That's beside the point. I cannot believe that this is an issue that I have. Delete hierarchy, because I don't need that anymore either. If I click the retop now, it should... Like, if I click this bake now, it should be fully functional. Well, since it's going to be doing this for like the next several minutes, what do I want to play now? Like, I could do another round of Minesweeper, but I think that'd be kind of pointless. I suppose I can check my Discord messages while I'm here. Foxy is currently complaining about how hot it is in his house, and honestly, I don't blame him. I hate overheating myself, so... entirely based complaint. What other games do I have access to? I mean, I could just play the dinosaur game, although I am using Firefox. I don't know what the Firefox equivalent to the dinosaur game is. What is the Firefox equivalent? Unicorn. Oh, okay. Interesting. But I think I'll stick with Minesweeper. I'm gonna zoom this in a bit. So I ordered some, like, I think I mentioned this before, I ordered some computer parts off of the Chinese wholesale site, and I put them together on Wednesday, and shockingly enough, it works really, really well. I ordered, I think it was like a Xeon CPU, a, dang it, one of those 5080s that would basically just clone, and it works really well. Like, Minecraft runs really good on it. And in my infinite wisdom, for a stress test of this new system, I decided to full send it and just download Pixelmon Reforged to the computer and just see how well it runs. It runs surprisingly good, especially considering it's a server CPU. But like, I was quite shocked that when I put it together, it didn't just explode. I had the fire extinguisher on my bed in case it happened, but it never did. It just works. And it wasn't even like a, oh yeah, haha funny, off-brand components can like self-destruct. No, I was just more concerned about the fact that my inability to put certain things together sometimes would screw me over, but it didn't in this case, so I suppose I can't complain too hard. Dang it. So, that one there. Yep. That's definitely one. That was definitely one. A lot of twos in that area. Not sure what that's about. I guess it's a whole two-party today. Alright, that's a 5. Oh, looks like Blanker's done. Okay, now it looks like there's no errors in the ambient occlusion map. So if I plug this in now, the... Oh, for the love of God! Oh wait, no, never mind. I forgot to save it first. Okay, let's save this. Now it should, yeah, function properly. Okay, there we go. I was about to rage quit because I was just like, I thought I fixed this garbage. But yeah, I had fixed it. It just turns out that it didn't really want to update for a second there. Okay, now back to what I was doing with this. So I need to add... I'm gonna add just a random color texture for a second here. So if I... Is there really no way of just adding a general color? Like, damn, bro. Actually, I can just set this to be a random color. I'll just set to orange for now. So if I move these up... Actually, I can probably move this across and this down. So just set that up there for a second. So, let's see. Mixing nodes together, color, ambient occlusion to multiply. So yeah, now that shows that amount of detail. I'm going to set this back down to 1. So yeah, that shows the ambient occlusion map on that. I'm going to put the normals back on too while I'm here. So that shows the ambient occlusion map. And then I need to add another mix node. Set that to A. And then this one needs to be plugged into here. Well, actually, I think I put in... Yeah, I accidentally put in the cavity instead of the ambient occlusion. Oopsies, that's supposed to be ambient occlusion first. So that's ambient occlusion first, and then the cavity gets plugged into here. And that is set to overlay. So now we've got that going. And now we have a... If I turn my stats on for a second here, I've got a 41,000 triangle mesh, or like 20,000 faces, with this amount of detail attached to it, which is quite frankly really impressive. Also, another thing that I realized that I can do now that I have this model is I can just straight up 3D print this and just leave it in a random spot just to mess with people, and I think that's incredibly funny, actually. I probably need to, like, resin print this, though. Because of, like, the whole toes and all that. like, this would probably make a good D&D figure. So now, if I plug this into here... Yeah, here we go. Now we've got a model going here. I also need to rig this at some point, but not right this second. So that is all the textures for this thing. Also, I think I figured out something vaguely helpful when it comes to the hair. I've kind of messed it up. I was supposed to put hair around this section as well. I just haven't done that. But yeah, I think all the detail is there. If I set this to like level 0, it looks vaguely okay. Like the knees look a bit off, but other than that, like if you were looking at it from a distance like this, you wouldn't even notice. Like you wouldn't even really notice that it was only like 6,000 faces. And I set it to level 1 though. But hey, at least we've got a character now. So, do I want to rig this? Perhaps, but not quite yet, I don't think. I noticed that's a little bit off in terms of detail, but that's fine. Like, realistically, you're probably just going to see it from, like, this distance, maybe. So you're not really going to see the nails. But in saying that, I do still need to do some color-related shenanigans with this, so I'm going to unplug that one. And probably remove that, just send it through here. There we go. Actually, if I plug this in through here, I can actually see all the details of the body, so I don't need to worry about coloring and all that fun stuff. So, yeah. Actually, what's going on with the chin there? Is that a... Oh, that's a normal map issue from the looks of it. Probably needs to be a bit higher quality. And there's also... I just realized there's a split down there. What is going on with this? That black spot, is that a part of the texture? It is not a part of the texture. So that tells me that's an ambient occlusion issue. Now, why would the ambient occlusion have that spot there? Go away, Windows. It's just that's... Oh, there's like a few there. Why is suddenly there just really weird... Oh, that's a bug. What is with the horror music? Like, I know it's bad, but it's not that bad. Get out of here with that. What? Why is that a thing? Please stop that. Okay, some reason there's a seam... Like, I know there's a seam on the actual model itself. It might be because of the overlap. I think it is because of the overlap. So if I... Wait, I might need to actually set the mapping on this. So if I set the mapping for this... It's like not as blatantly obvious. Like, there's some really weird artifacting going on here. Like, I thought initially that it was fine, but apparently not. Apparently Blender just generally dislikes that. If I might have to redo the cavity, possibly, but I'll do that some other time. Because for the time being, I do want to do a little bit more colouring on this guy here. So if I just do this one here. So I just want to see the like the drider texture and the normal map down here. I don't really want any other information. So if I do that now, if I go into the texture paint, yes. Now I can see all the details without having to be at like level 5 or what have you. So I'm actually going to turn this back down to level 0. It's going to look blocky for the time being, but that's fine. So if I grab this, I break my wrist while I'm doing so. Now I'm going to pull up on the other screen the color zone for this. So if I pull that up, now I do have the palette here, I'm pretty sure still. Yep, I still have the palette here. So if I do this, so I'm going to set this to be a relatively bright red. And I'm going to set this to add. And is it mirrored at the moment? It is not, so I'll just mirror it. And really set this down. And now it will do this. I'll just set it to a bit darker. That's actually the wrong zone, I just realized. That's fine. So I'm going to set that to a brighter red. I'm going to add this to the palette, and I'm going to switch over to yellow. Like a nice bright yellow. Yep, that looks about right. So I'll add that to the palette. And I want to switch the hue over to a light-ish blue. So like around about here. That looks correct. Probably even a smidge brighter. This one. Yeah, I think so. So I'm going to add that to here. Alright, so start with the yellow. So it's yellow to the brow line. And then it switches to red. So I'm going to yellow to here. And then goes X. I'll make sure I get really good coverage on the head here. Basically, just make this a cap. And then I'm going to blur tool, just make sure I get this all cleaned up. Actually, even just the smudge tool, just, yeah, there we go. So, smudge tool that up. So now we've got that. Now if I go down here, pick the red. I also need to desat this as well, so I'm going to desat the bridge of the nose before putting red down. Is the viewport's on level 0? I don't know why there's lag on this. Okay. Should be fine. Oh, hello. Why is there artifacting here? There's just random artifacting. There shouldn't be random artifacting here. Please leave. Why is it just random artifacting? So that's definitely a coloring issue, but why is that there? Oh wait, it's the oh, it's just the texturing. But why is it like that? Yeah, if I turn that to level 0, I think it's actually just an issue with the multi-res texture. That's fine, I can just ignore that for now. A little bit irritating, but what can you do? Okay, let's just repaint the head. And then around the back here. And then using the blur tool, just put that back. Now with paint again, just get the reds. Just make that a bit darker. And that goes to around, yeah, around there. And then around the ears, around the back of the head. And now using the smear, well I guess this is technically the smear tool, not the blur tool, but that's whatever. Just blur that in and soften it around the edges there. Just make it a bit more consistent. And then around here as well, just make sure I get that. And then for this, just grab this one, grab the blue, and then from the mouth downwards is a dark blue tinge. Get that one as well, just make sure it's actually quite nice. And actually, that's probably a bit too much. Now if I grab this, just move this in a bit. And then, using the soften tool, just clean up around there a bit. I'll have to probably blur this down towards the bottom, though. Before softening this one. Right. Maybe even just with the original color. Wait, that's the clone tool, not the... Dang it. Alright. Smear this back into place. This is a bit of a mess, chat. I keep clicking on the wrong goddamn buttons. Alright, using the actual smear tool this time. Okay, use the soften tool. Actually, gonna smear this upwards. Since for whatever reason Blender has deemed it necessary to make that really pink. Okay. Now for this, I'm actually going to go back to the original skin tone with like a really low value and just go over this lot here. And more specifically, I want to actually fix this. So just... that. Okay, that just makes it a mess. That's not what I want. Okay, and then probably even clone. Is there a way to set the clone area? Possibly not, no. Okay, just soften that out. And then just use this one, just go over it a couple of times. Just can't really smooth that, I'm dumb. So if I go over it with this one, let me just darken this a bit. Not like that though. Dang it, everything I do, it seems to just make that particular spot worse. That's not what I want. Maybe it's because I have it to add and not mix. So if I do this... okay. That helps a bit, and then using the add, just go back over it. Actually, why don't I just use the smudge tool and just bring it down over that? Or using the soften to fix that up a little bit. That's not really helpful though. It just seems to not want to do what I want it to. So you know what? I am just going to force it back to the original color. That is not the original color. What is then? I thought this was... no. Oh, that is the original color. Just remove that section there. And now using the add mode. And then setting that back down to 0.04. And there's another bot. I only just realized that. Get out of here. Like, how cringe can you be? I wasn't even paying attention to chat that time. I was too busy with the color map on my screen. That's a bit embarrassing. Dang it, why can't you just be the color that I want you to be? Why do you have to just be different? There is no need for it. Just do what I ask of you. Okay, it's starting to look a smidge better, but not by much. If I use the soften tool, I should be able to repair that. Alright, so that should be fine now that I've fixed that. Now, all I need to do is using the original color, again at a much lower value, probably even half that at 0.02, just go over this. So I just need to add mix mode. And I actually probably want to point this up to 0.06. There we go. Now we have a 5 o'clock shadow going on here too. Just do that so it blends a little bit better. Now I need to do now. Look, trying to pull up the face references. Now the colours are usually pretty neutral on male faces. Like the lip colours are usually pretty neutral. So I'm going to probably just eyedropper, I think. Probably for this particular face color, probably pick up a probably around about that color. I'll add this to the list, and then I may use dark mode for this. Got to set straight up. That's probably a bit too a bit too much. Let's set this down. And then probably like that much. There we go. That's probably a bit better. Probably even too much now I think about it. Probably a little bit less than that, maybe. Or even just a lighter colour in general, probably not. That probably would. Looks fairly purple though, doesn't it? Looks alright from a distance. So if I increase the size of that, just put that off to the side so I can catch any further bots that might show up in the stream. Put it right there. But I don't want it to make it look like he's wearing lipstick, you know? Because while a drag queen Dryder would be quite interesting, that's not the type of character I'm going for here. At least not today, anyway. Maybe some other time. I like the little bit more. Yeah, that's better. Here it is. There we go, we have a mostly completed character now. All I need to really do now is the hair. I think this works quite well. So if I plonk this back up to 0.1. Yeah, the lips are good, the face is good. The asymmetry works. The scarring works. You can't really see the scarring here, although it does show up a smidge, which I think actually works a lot better. Yeah, I think this works. And then the hair could probably still do with some work. But, like, by itself like this is actually not bad. So I'm going to save an increment to this, and I am going to swap back to... Oh, thank you, Blender, for reminding me to save my images. Save all images. Save, and I'm going to swap over to this again. This off. Toss that to the side. And what funny situation am I going to put these two into this time? Because obviously I've already got them, well, one of them at least, attempting to murder Moneybags. Actually, I want to see what the render on this looks like, because I think it would look pretty funny. I'm just going to quickly render this out. Alright, let's see what it looks like. Oh, it's like super noisy. Is it because it's too dark? Might need to, I wonder if I boost the color management on this. So if I put this to 8.5, and then just like boost the lighting up just a smidge, I think it would work. So where is the lighting that I have for this? I think it's like up here. So if I weaken that to like 5 maybe. Actually, probably even slightly more, because like I am still going to need to have the lighting on this side too. So if I render this out now, it's still going to be fairly noisy, but it works a lot better now. I'm sorry. Just the image of Herobrine attempting to murder Moneybags is just so infinitely funny to me. multiplayer blender's having a bit of a better time with this one. It's still like a bit blurry. Oh, actually, it might be because the camera still has... Does this have a... Yeah, it does. Okay, so I'm gonna put the focus to be... I'm gonna put the focus at 20 meters, but I'm also just gonna have it be on Moneybags specifically. The reason why it's blurry is because I haven't put the camera focus quite correct. So if I do this now, Herobrine should be quite clearly visible. So let's see how this one turns out. There we go. Now we can see a good image of Moneybags almost dying. I don't know what the deal with that is, though. I don't know why it's noisy around that particular section. Does it need to be boosted at all? Or maybe, just try 5. Because, like, the range on this is quite large, actually. It does not need to be that high. So if I wonder if I, well, actually, if I Alt-R... and then set this to, like, 2 watts or something. Just, like, enough so it shows up, but not enough that it's breaking the rest of the lighting in this scene. 1 watt, maybe? Yeah, okay. And then this point light up here. I'm gonna set that to 5 watts. Now, if I render this out, this should look a bit better. I think the internet would very much appreciate this particular image. It's still doing this. I don't know why it's doing that. Is it because the, well, I know this is technically an indoor lighting scene and all that, but that should not be an excuse for whatever the hell is happening here. 0.5, maybe? Actually, come to think of it, I don't know what's going on here either. Actually, it might be because of this. Because, like, I'm looking at this, there's actually texture to that. And it's... looks to be relatively consistent as to what's happening there. I think that is relatively consistent, actually, now that I think about it. So I'm just going to quickly revert this. So the issue at hand here, specifically, is the texture that's on that. So if I... because, like, it looks fine in the preview, but the second it renders, it seems to break, which makes me think that the texture on here might be responsible for that. So if I go over here... so, like, the area here is breaking. I wonder if I change the scale of the light on the fireball. If I do, like, say, 20 meters, or something like, no, not 20 meters, 0.5 meters, and if I render this out now, it might work slightly better. It's still, like, really noisy. Oh, I forgot to change the focus, actually. Can't beat to change the focus of the camera. Meters. Actually, if I turn depth of field off. If I turn depth of field off, it might help. Okay, it is cleaning up a bit better even with this dark of a exposure. So now, hopefully denoise shouldn't... it's still bugging out on the side there. It really doesn't enjoy going through this, does it? And even if I went into Eevee, it would still look jank as all hell. Because like, even if I set it to 1-1 and hit F12 on this, it's still going to be way too dark. And look how noisy it is. So if I'm going to boost this again, I think. I think boosting it initially was the play. So 8.5. And then boosting, or actually even just dragging down the area light that I'm using. I want to hide it, I want to grab it. Because, like, this is still going to be a relatively bright area, because this is the boss fight area. If I change this to a disc, because this is technically a spot where there'd be light filtering through anyway. So if I set that to be 5 watts, even maybe a smidge lower at 3. Actually, no, maybe 5 works. I think 5 works here. I just set that. Nah. Alright, let's try this one. Where hopefully it should have slightly less troubles with the walls this time. So I know it's gonna go like 2000 samples should be sufficient for this image. It's just deciding that it doesn't want to do what I ask of it. Which is not unusual. But we've seen how often that happens. Okay, so this side is actually clearing up a bit better. This side's still probably going to glitch though, from the looks of it. Yeah. It's still doing the thing. Why is it still doing the thing? Like, if I went overly exuberant on this, actually maybe it's because it's too pink. So if like I set the sat on this to be a bit lower, say like around about here. If I set the sat lower, is that gonna fix the problem? Probably not. But hey, can't blame me for trying. Oh, sorry, I keep looking at Herobrine just being really angry at Moneybags. It reminds me of, this is like quite a while ago. I was messing around with character AI, right? Like this was quite some time ago, probably like a couple of years at this point. So there was a Herobrine chatbot on there. So I decided to try and explain the concept of capitalism to it. And the bot was like, bro, even I'm not that evil, what the hell? And I find that to be, quite frankly, incredibly funny. So I'm going to... I'm actually going to set this to 6.5. And I'm going to boost everything up a bit to compensate for the lack of lighting here. So set that to 6 watts maybe? Yeah. And then set the spotlight here to 15. And unfortunately, the outside is going to be a bit darker, so I do need to set these suns to be like 0.5. and point. That was times 5, so that's 0.25. Actually, I'll set the spot to be slightly brighter. I'll set to 20. So if I F12 this now, hopefully Blender will have slightly less troubles with it. Yeah, it's like, it's clearing up quite a bit faster. I'm just hoping that it will finally leave this wall alone when it comes to the denoising. I think the angle's probably slightly off on this one, like in terms of camera angle, but I'll have a look at that in a second. Okay, yeah, so the wall's fixed now. It's because the value was too low. Like the what is it called? The exposure was too low, or too high technically. So if I go into camera, now there is a setting in here. Where is it? Composition guides, here we go. So just quickly turn on thirds and go into here. So I want to change the angle of this to be slightly more reasonable. So I want Herobrine and Moneybags to be on this third and have Scythe here be on the other third. So just move that over a bit more to make it more consistent. And probably around about like here. Yeah, that looks quite clean. And I just need to maybe even probably rotate it. Because I want these two to be solidly in this side, and then like the other subject here being Scythe just being on that side. There we go, that's quite nice. So I can get out of that now. I'll just change up the pose very slightly to compensate for the fact that the foot's quite visible now. So, G then. Probably Z for this one. Actually, I can just... and X, Y. Actually, to be fair, the foot looks almost exactly the same anyway, but I'll... yeah. Okay, there we go. Now we have Herobrine, Moneybags, and Scythe just being a little bit silly. So we'll go to Lighthouse Sit here. Now, the camera on this one I think needs to be changed too. So I'll do that. Go to here and I want the focus to be around back here. Yeah, I think that works. So now I'm going to make another duplicate of this one, because obviously this one here is going to be, like, obviously the difference in exposure is quite high between those two scenes. I'd rather faff about with that as little as possible. So, full copy. Now, where should I get these two to be this time? Like, the last thing I'm planning on doing is having these two walk through these open doors here. But I don't really have too many other ideas, because, like, One could argue that super bonus could be an idea, but at this point in the game, that area would not be open yet. And obviously nobody can get to that, so that one doesn't make any sense. There's not actually really too much to do in this area, I realize now. There's like Agent 9, there's Crystal Islands. There's the lighthouse, which we've already done. I mean, like, I could, have the two of them try and get to the egg that would be normally on this island here. But I'd actually need an egg. Do they have an egg model on here? I don't know that they have an egg model on this website, but I can have a look. Let's see, Year of the Dragon, here we go. They do have a model of the dragon egg on this version. I could do it. Otherwise, I could have the two of them sitting, like, somehow. And it could be quite a nice image too. Just have the two of them sitting here with, like, the entire realm in the background. So if I, like, did... Hang on, I need to not go too far out because obviously the skybox is still there. But if I, like, zoomed out sort of like this far... I'm not sure though. Compared to the other levels, there's actually not a lot to do in this area. Like, the other option here is to have the two of them sitting out across the abyss and have, like, this tower in the background. But there's really nothing... Like, the tower doesn't do anything. There's, like, nothing in here that I can use. Like, it's one of those things where, like, if I wanted to do something here, I'd basically have to create it myself. But the only other option, which is already in the background of this scene here, is this snake thing here. Like, this leads to Haunted Tomb. Like, if I was doing the main maps of the game, which there aren't actually a whole lot that have been ported over here. There's, like... Let's see... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 maps that have been ported. Do you want to guess how many are actual normal maps and not a speedway or a boss fight? Or a Sparks level for that matter? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 maps that have been ported to this website that are not boss fights or Sparks maps. Like, I think that's half of them are just boss fights and Sparks and speedways. And the reason why those 3 are different specifically is because the boss fights are obviously like one area, as is the speedways, and then the actual farms, I say farms, the actual Sparks levels don't have any details to them whatsoever. So, I have to hope at some point that somebody would decide to port the rest of the maps in this game. I'm gonna do the egg model, I think. I'm gonna do the idea of this one here. Because, like, that's the best of what I've got currently. There we go. So probably what I can do is have, I'm not sure who would be here. Probably Herobrine, because Scythe, again, can't make that jump. Only Herobrine would be able to do it, because he's the only one here who can fly. I suppose the other implication is that Herobrine could literally just throw her over the gap, which would be quite funny, actually. You know what, I'm gonna do that, because, like, now that I've said that out loud, that actually does sound pretty funny. Okay, so put this video game 3D models. Oh, accidentally opened it on the wrong screen. That's fine. So just do this. Oh, this is another day file. So if I do this and I do import, grab the day file, drag it, and somehow it ended up there. Huh? How did that happen? Why is it called Channel 4? I have so many questions, none of which would be answered. So, selection to cursor. Why is that so large? Oh great, now I have to calculate how big an egg is compared to money bags. That's silly. Is there any way that I can find out how big an egg is compared to Moneybags himself? Oh, actually, no, there is one scene. There is one specific scene where you do see Moneybags standing next to an egg, and that's when you beat the ever-loving snot out of him. So... there is... because I need, like, the original Into the Dragonfly. Support YouTube. Oops, sorry. Did not mean to blast out years, chat. It's... okay, like, the angle that he's at on the bridge, you can't really see. Like, if I had to take a guess, it's probably the size of his, like... I don't want to phrase it like this. The size of his sack? So that's what I'm going to work with here. I'm going to say that's roughly the size of his gem bag. I'm going to say that's roughly around about the size of what the egg would be in normal gameplay. So if I shift S and select cursor. Okay, that seems about right. Now I do want to actually shade this smooth. It doesn't shade smooth? Really? So I cannot, for some reason, shade this one in particular smooth. Like, for real? I didn't think it was possible for something to not be able to be shaded smooth. Okay, well I guess I'm going to have to figure that out off stream then. Because this is going to be a bit of a shorter stream today. I've started quite late. But I did manage to get a fair amount of work done, so I'm not going to complain too hard. Where is my ending screen? There we go. Do I have anybody to raid? It doesn't look like it at the moment. I'm just having a look through the list. You know, for all of the, like, art ones that I get recommended because it's the same category, I don't see a single, like, 3D modeling artists in general. Honestly, it's all 2D art. And, like, fair enough. I just wish, like, there was a specific category for 3D art so I could ping that one instead of sending people over to a 2D art stream is all. Because I feel like it would fit better with the whole Blender thing. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Okay, unfortunate. Alright, I guess I shall end off the stream there.